Man. Today is Thursday, February 2nd, 2017, and just for fun I thought we'd take another look at WSO Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger's video, SECCHI detects two massive objects that are unidentified. Now in my previous video I did positively identify the two objects, but playing around with solar system scope I was trying to work out why I couldn't see any stars in Steve's video, and it turns out even though I was playing it in HD I really needed to go to the full screen view, and then I could only barely just make out the stars in his video. So I guess this really comes down to the video quality that he was recording on, or maybe it's just the playback. Hopefully we'll be able to see the stars a little better in my screen record using solar system scope. But let's do a quick recap so that we know what we're talking about, and this time I'm going to play the video in full screen, so hopefully you might be able to see some of those stars in the background.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
Alright, so here we're looking at the solar system scope, and this is the position today where we're at right now. And the problem with and where the stereo is right here, the stereo spacecraft that's looking at the Earth. Now, we do agree that we're seeing Enki coming in, that little dot coming in, and I think we both agree that that's what that little dot is, right?
That is Enki. Yeah, it's got all the characteristics. Yeah.
Venus, should be in the vicinity, so I'll go ahead and give the lower one to Venus. Mars is behind the spacecraft, so we're not going to see that right now. There's nothing up there, man, other than comet sliding spring, but it's so far above the ecliptic, I can't believe that would be the object.
No, we have an object, Steve, and I still have the frames up.
There's nothing here, Wayne.
There's nothing there. That's my point. There is nothing there.
Yeah.
So let's take a look directly in solar system scope for ourselves and see if we can figure out what was going on in Steve's video. So here we are in solar system scope, pretty much the same view as we saw in Steve's video. Now let's tilt the view down and hopefully you can see in the background that there are indeed stars there. Also we can see Comet 67P, we can see Comet Enki, and we can see Comet Siding Spring, not Sliding Spring as Steve called it. But anyway, small mistake. But let's take a look at something else that Steve seems to have missed with solar system scope. On the side here, on the left hand side, you can see this gear wheel, which is our settings control, and he's already got it set to the realistic model instead of the horary model, which is the default view. And you can see that the planets are set to the large size, which are obviously not to scale. We can set it to realistic and you'll see that the planets shrink down to just points, same with the sun. But that's okay, we can go with the large size planets just so we know what we're looking at. But you'll notice that there are some other options here, these check boxes for the planets, dwarf planets, comets, and also major stars. So let's see what happens when we hit this checkbox. Well, what do you know, there's Regulus in the background. And you'll remember from my previous video that I did identify the two so-called unidentified objects as the two stars Regulus and Algebra. So this confirms that it is in fact the star Regulus, which is labelled here, and Algebra is above it but is not labelled in this view. By the way, this comet Enki, which is identified here in solar system scope, is not the same comet that we see passing through the field of view in these SECCHI images. The object that we see in the SECCHI images is in fact comet Honda 45P. It is not comet Enki. So that's another little recap on the video by the two clowns that are Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger, and their hilarious attempt at using solar system scope to identify two massive objects that are unidentified. Case closed. As always, do check out my Facebook discussion page, Voices of Reason to Explain X, or VORTEX. You'll find a link in the description area. Thank you for watching. Hello YouTube, this is Dazza the Cameraman. Today is Thursday, February 2nd, 2017, and just for fun I thought we'd take another look at WSO Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger's video, SECCHI detects two massive objects that are unidentified. Now in my previous video I did positively identify the two objects, but playing around with solar system scope I was trying to work out why I couldn't see any stars in Steve's video, and it turns out even though I was playing it in HD I really needed to go to the full screen view, and then